Welcome to another edition of Tom's Real Food Podcast. Today's podcast is brought to you by Meg's Mysteries. Every Saturday, 12 a.m., Murder Mystery. Come and listen. Coming soon, the Sunday Dinner Chef Food Chat. And don't forget, Keto Clean Eating every Wednesday. Now, let's get to the podcast this week. Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Tom Garber, the Keto Cook. Today on Tom's Real Food Podcast, we are going to be talking about how do we deal with change. As Americans, there's always that A versus B, 1 versus 2. That VS in the middle of the two sides is the controversy, and it is how do we deal with that change. Reason why I'm bringing this up. RFK was confirmed by the Senate to head HHS. Now, pros and cons to it, all right? A lot of cons. People are talking about, he's anti-vax, he's this, he's that. The guy didn't even step into it. I mean, they're talking about stuff he said 10 years ago, all right? I changed my mind on things 15 minutes ago, all right? So my politics is none of your business, and that's the way I like to keep it. Your politics is none of my business. But there is a view that I have that everybody should work down the middle here because you know what? We're in trouble. Whether it's the vaccines or this and that, I don't rail against it. For it, against it, I'm not there. I'm not a scientist, so I don't know that much about it. All right. But here's what I do know about. All right. We are a sugar addicted country. We are a sugar addicted world. I did some reading past couple days getting into this for this podcast here. And I was like, wow. I mean, when somebody says big pharma or big food, okay, you don't know the magnitude of it. All right. This is worldwide. So if somebody's going to step in like RFK and say, you know what, I'm stopping sugar today, he's got some pushback coming. Okay. Not only from big sugar, big pharma, big food. All right. Oil companies and stuff like that. I mean, refined oils and stuff like that. He's got his hands full. All right. So getting into this, how do we deal with it? Do you agree that we are sugar addicted? Do you agree that we are food addicted to fast foods, high carbohydrates, high sugars? Well, I got some slides that I'm gonna play, and we're gonna talk about it because you know what, a lot of people are not aware, especially younger people who this is actually affecting. All right, they're not aware of what the causes are and what the problems are. I know guys in their early 20s, okay, who are dealing with high blood pressure, thin, but it's their diet, what they're eating, and it seems to be more and more easier to get junk food on the table than it is to put a well balanced dinner to sit down. Everybody can sit down at the table and go through their day and eat a normal, what I call a normal dinner, rather than have a knock on a door or watch your phone. The app driver will be here in a couple minutes and bring a bag in, and there's your dinner for tonight. We need to really look into this end of it. All right. So without getting too crazy into this right here, I think RFK has got his hands full, and because just reading some of the stuff, like I said, just reading some of the stuff is like, wow, unbelievable. Okay, so we're going to jump right in here. So I have here insulin. What is insulin? All right, it regulates glucose in the blood. Now, is that all what it does? Well, basically, but it is one. It's a hormone that affects every organ, every cell in our body. It's more or less like the policeman or the night watchman of our body. You stub your toe, insulin's there to see what's going on with it, and that activates all the rest of our stuff. Now, there again, I am not a scientist, so when this first when we first started talking about insulin and stuff like that, I was so naive. It says here, what is type 1 diabetes? Goes through that whole routine. Now, a type 1 diabetic, insulin is crucial for them sustaining life. I mean, their body, their pancreas does not produce enough insulin to take care of itself. So they can actually crash, all right? Really low blood sugar. So they need the insulin to put the sugar and everything where it needs to be. that's as far as I go with it, as far as being a spokesman for insulin. I don't know that much about it. There again, I'm not a scientist. But type 2 diabetic, I am. Now, back in the early part of my diagnosis with it, I was receiving BCG treatments for bladder cancer. And as I was going through it, I didn't read this into it because they really don't tell you about it until now, that can and actually will cause you to become a type 2 diabetic. All right. So there was even talk about them putting me on insulin. I was so confused. I was like, what are you talking about? I have no idea with it. So now doing more research into this, what is insulin and stuff like that, the research that I've been reading about is that, well, you know what? If you are a type 2 diabetic, okay, 9 times out of 10, you're insulin resistant. Well, wait a minute. What are you talking about? Insulin resistant? I have no clue what you're saying. So, doing more research in it, here's what it came up to be. What is insulin resistance? So it's almost like changing canoes in the middle of the water. All right. Now, what are you talking about? I'm insulin resistant. Well, insulin resistant is when you have either too much insulin, your body's producing too much insulin, and it doesn't. Your body's not reacting to it. All right. So what does that mean? So if you read here, what is insulin resistant? This is all generalizations that I got from Google, and I got the best ones that I could find right here about it. And if you go through the whole thing, is the sensitivity to insulin. Most people who are normal, who don't have type 2 diabetes, is insulin sensitive. Okay, that means their insulin's working great. Mine doesn't work. Okay, either it's sky high, all right, or it just doesn't bring the sugars to where it's supposed to be. Now, as you read on down here, okay, the conditions is also associated with obesity, cardiovascular disease, and others. All right, now let me move on here a little bit more to the next one. Um, so there again, now that's another shoe that dropped for me. All right. Oh man, I'm insulin resistant. Well, how do I know if I'm insulin resistant? Well, you have all the signs. Well, is there a test for it? Okay. So now that's another controversy that we're going to get into a couple of the podcasts from here. Now, the bottom line is, what do you do about it? Okay. They don't give you no straight answers. And if they do send you to let's look at this one here. And if they do send you to an endocrinologist, or if they do send you to um, a dietitian, they're completely way off base. I mean, as far as they have no clue exactly what it is. Um, and they keep throwing out that word metabolic syndrome. So, is it diet? Is it hereditary? No, it is. It's actually it could be both, but it's the imbalance that you're putting. We are putting so much sugar into our systems. Everything we eat, all right, is sugar, unless you're doing a carnivore or a keto lifestyle. So there's a lot of research, and I assure everybody, the only way you're going to get any kind of information is that if you do it yourself. That's how I did it. I never got any straight answers from my doctors about it. Now, there again, I'm not anti-doctor, all right? But if you want to get a handle on your health, this is the way you got to do it. I mean, you got to do all different kinds of research, because I'm going to show you here in a little bit that some of the papers that are put out there, this one, for instance, okay? Now, if you read through this whole thing, it'll tell you exactly, all right, what they think about it. This Medline Plus, all right. Now, if you go further on down, it says at the bottom, does a low carb diet actually help with this? Well, this is when they start hemming and hawing about it. So there again, you got to pick and choose where you get your stuff from, because this was produced by the AHA, okay, American Heart Association, okay, and it tells you about how many carbohydrates should you eat in a day, which types of carbohydrates should I eat, okay. Now, the way I found out about it, not to eat no carbohydrates. because it was keeping you in that cycle as far as medications and keeping your blood sugars up high, keeping you insulin resistant. So yeah, you got to be real careful. I put this on purposely just to show you how it can be manipulated. Now, this one here, Atkins. Now, years and years ago, when Atkins first came out, and it was pretty much like a trend type of thing, but it worked. Now, Atkins did this for this was like the rebirth, basically of a keto lifestyle. So, if you read into this, I can't zoom it anymore, but if you read into this stuff right here, it tells you that once Atkins had Dr. Atkins had passed away, another company bought it out, and they spent, I believe it said 24 billion for billion or million. I could be dead wrong. All right, but they took Dr. Atkins' whole protocol and started adding these snacks to it. As you can see right here, okay, this is the name of the company, the Simply Good Foods Company. And you can look this up, Wikipedia, whatever. Uh, you can look at this whole thing, and you can actually see the prices that they paid for this. All right. So basically, what it is, they're using Atkins' name because it's known for its diet, the Atkins diet, and low carb diet. Best foods for Atkins diet. It's all garbage. It's all sugar. It's hidden sugars. It's not good for you. This is the one right here that eat well. Below here, it didn't pick up on when I went to Google search it, but this is also part of the GLP-1. They're pushing that they can put into foods now, and that you can eat it that way. That's insane. It's completely nuts. Okay, let's get into this one right here. This is why I think RFK will have a problem with cutting back on sugars. Okay, and the whole thing. If you can go find this site right here, I'll try to leave a link in the bottom if I remember. Um, this is an interesting read. Um, it tells you exactly who is the top. There's 15 sugar companies, manufacturers in the world. The top ones come from India. All right. And then it gives you the list of all of them right down here. I'm going to keep pausing this here. As you can see right here, 2023-2024 period suggests a volume of 60.7 million tons. This is sugar, okay, with a slight decrease from the previous years due to lower expected exportable supplies in Brazil, India, Thailand, okay, and globally throughout the rest of the world who produce sugar. All right. And it goes on and on and on to utilizing sugar and candies, manufacturing, marketing trends shows growing for organic and non-GMO sugars due to increasing health awareness. So they know what's going on. All right. They actually know that there's a problem with it. Here's the other one. Now, this is big in the United States. All right. The beet sugar market. All right. Now, I remember when I first started doing keto and stuff, there was a big push that you can actually use beet sugars on keto. And wrong answer. Um, just look at the monies right here. Just look at what they're talking about here. Let's see. It's forecasted to hit a whopping US 2.7 billion by 2034. 9 years. 9 years. That's incredible. And if you read down a little further down on here, so I mean, the industry is a sweet boost. Okay, we got sugar coming in just about everything that we eat. They're telling you that. All right, it's crazy. It's completely crazy. That's why I'm thinking that he's going to have a hard time with, with banning any kind of sugars or without getting any kind of pushback. So, well, My only thing is, we got to work it ourselves because I'm just thinking that money. Do you think actually, in the back of your mind here, do you actually think that you're head of a sugar company that you're going to say, "Oh, roll over," because RFK told you no more sugar? It's insane. It's completely insane. So it shows you exactly what we are now. The big push is I have people say to me, "Well, you know what, Tom? I don't have type 2 diabetes. I'm not obese. I'm not overweight. And I don't think, what you're saying is I can't follow you because I don't need to be on keto. I don't need to be carnivore." My answer is this. Well, guess what? You will. You will need keto. You will need carnivore. You will need to be taking metformin. You will need to be taking all the stuff that's going to go on because you know what? It's written in stone that guess what? You will become type 2 diabetic. Look at the push back 10 years, 15, 20 years ago. The amount of people who all of a sudden were diagnosed as type 2 diabetic. Was it because of the pills? Was it because we eat what we eat and sugar addicted? Yeah, I don't know. I got a little something I want you to just do for fun. All right. I want you to go to Amazon. I was going to put it up there, but I don't want to get no copyright or anything on it. But go to an Amazon site and write in what you're looking for. All right, and type in junk food. Do it. All right. Type in just junk food. No, nothing specific or anything like that. There are 7+ pages that are loaded. All right, with junk food. It's astounding, and then you can, then you can see all the different stuff. There is a couple things in there, and it's under $40. All right, different boxes of candies and snacks, and I mean 30 pieces of candies or whatever, bags of chips and crackers and chocolate bars and all this stuff in there, and it's all under the highest one I seen was $39. All right. It's insane. It's completely insane. And then there's the thing with meat sticks. Okay, to have meat. Well, you can do keto meat sticks. All right, they're loaded with sugar. Okay, I mean it's just incredible how uh, we I mean it's all about the money. And I keep saying that people say it is nothing. It's all about the money. Look at Atkins. All right, Atkins was at one point was a great way to lose weight. All right, they didn't know so much about with low carbs, no sugar, and high fat and protein. All right, they didn't know that much about it, but it worked. There was people that were losing weight, but once they come out with them these bars, these candy bars, and I like the way they put them health bar. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's got some fictitious name for sugar. All right. And it's not good for you. It's going to throw you off the rails. So that's the way they deliver it to us, as far as in the form of the advertising people from when I was a kid, sitting there watching Rin Tin Tin or Lone Ranger or whatever, eating my sugar pops, all right, or sugar smacks or something with another load of sugar on top of it, and drinking the milk with the lactose. I mean, I was like, "Ugh." They were geniuses. They were flat out geniuses. Okay. Then with Captain Crunch, and then with the cookies, Drake's cakes, and also Hostess, and all this stuff. The biggest one for me was Wonder Bread helps build bodies in 12 ways. It should have been Wonder Bread, how it breaks down bodies in 12 ways. All right. That stuff you could, like Laura said, that was here, Healthy Carnivore. She said she did an experiment with a loaf of bread up on a windowsill, and for a month, it was fine. It didn't break down. So this is the problem. Now, can RFK curve some things? Yes. It'll be a good start. How much pushback is he going to get? Well, you just seen $2.7 billion expected. Okay, and from now until 9 years from now until 2034 in revenue. So it's not going away. Is he going to be able to stop it? Like I said, it is pretty crazy. But do that experiment. Go to Amazon, all right, and just type in junk food. It's remarkable, really is. So exactly what is the solution? Well, you got to do your research out there, and there are people out there who are strong advocates for what we're doing. They're looking for different ways. There are different guys who are PhDs and stuff like that who are looking for ways to get around all this craziness. Plus, they're pretty honest about it. And what I mean by honest about it is they'll give you both sides of the story. Is carbs really bad for you? Fiber, and they go through all this stuff. So yeah, there are people that are working on it, but I don't see anything coming soon. I don't see like an emergency meeting when all of a sudden sugar's going to stop or whatever. It's just too big. It is huge. India is the leading sugar manufacturer, and then it just keeps on going. China, all the different countries around the world, plus the United States, and we're leading the group in beet with beet sugars. Okay, I mean, beets are high in glucose. I mean, it's amazing. At one point, when I was diagnosed with the bladder cancer, and then all of a sudden told that I had a type 2 diabetes, I was put to do juicing. All right, and I did juicing. I did vegetable. Well, I got to tell you, try collards. Okay, collards and a couple other things. Ooh, that's tasty. It's nasty. Uh, but I used to do. I had a protocol that was given to me. Carrots. Okay, 5 or 6 carrots, green apple, 2 green apples. All right, and a beet. Take half of a beet or a quarter of a beet and put that in there and slug that down. That was supposed to help me with tumors in my bladder. And it worked. It worked good. But I tell you what, as soon as I get done drinking, I'd have a headache. And who knew? The high glucose in between the carrots, the amount of carrots that I had, and also the beet, the sugar beet, the red beet, was unbelievable. There was also a guy. We're going to get into this a little bit in a couple other podcasts about different doctors that spoke up that are no longer or were no longer with us, and all their research was missing. So we're going to get into that coming down. There again, I said I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but it just makes me go, what's going on with all this stuff? So we're going to see what happens with RFK with this. His foot's in the right direction. I just don't know if they're going to slam a door on his foot or not, because it's crazy. And and like I said, keep going back and forth. You know, sugar at one point. I remember sitting as a child, sitting at the kitchen table, and it was salt and pepper sugar bowl. All right, and then my mom with the sweet and low and all the other that other junk that they had there. So that was a staple inside the house. Boom, have coffee, tea, whatever, and or iced tea, and throw some sugar in it and stuff. So that was we were brought up that way. Crazy, but yeah, that's what it was. So how things have changed. All right. So rather than all the medical field turn around and saying, "Hey, guess what? This is not good for you. We got to stop it, and we're going to start changing things out." We are so far gone. We are so addicted. It's ridiculous. So just like what Mary Poppins used to say, spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. Well, we want to get away from that. So, all right, everybody. I hope I didn't confuse a lot of people with it, but do some research. All right, look into it, and it's going to make you say, really?" Just think about some of the foods that we have. Like I said last week, a large baked potato, 67 grams of carbohydrates, plus starch and the sugar. I mean, one baked potato, you eat that down and you're on cloud nine as far as the sugar high. So, all right, everybody, listen, thank you for watching. I am Tom Garvey, the Keto Cook. This is Tom's Real Food Podcast. Check back next Monday, all right? And we'll have another podcast going on here. Talk to you later.